Leeds United are a club in crisis, but who's to blame for the mess? Tonight we put Leeds on trial, and you are the jury. Hello, in this special programme we examine the demise of Leeds United. Managerless and crippled by spiralling debts, the club lies stranded in the basement of the Premier League, fighting for its very survival. Leeds face the very real prospect of becoming the first Premiership club to go into administration, with all the uncertainty that would ensue. So who, if anyone, is responsible for this sorry state of affairs? In the dock are the board members, managers and players who've all played various roles in the Ellen Road drama in recent times. Guilty or not guilty? Chief prosecutor is journalist and BBC Radio Leeds presenter Martin Kellner. He'll be calling witnesses to accuse the people he feels should carry the can for the club's downfall. Defence counsel is one of the expert reporters on the financial state of the national game, Mihir Bose of the Daily Telegraph. Let's hope he defends as stoically as some of the sides in the Premiership. Now, they'll be calling witnesses to support their case, and as it's trial by TV, they'll be allowed video evidence which will be shown on the screen behind. Now, we've assembled one of the biggest juries any trial can muster, not just Leeds fans here in the studio, but also you, the listeners and viewers at home, along with the listeners to BBC Radio Leeds. Our studio jury will deliver judgment here tonight, and tomorrow on Look North we'll hear your verdicts based on evidence heard here. Details on how to have your say will follow later. So members of the jury, everyone's been sworn in, the court's in session. Let proceedings begin.
Thank you, Millard. It's my duty today to present the case against each of the accused, the various boards, managers and players of Leeds United in recent years. Now, before calling our first witness, I'd like to remind the jury of the proud heritage of this city's football club.
Football in Leeds is rooted in financial controversy. The original club, Leeds City, was booted out of the league for making illegal payments to their players during the strictly amateur period of the Great War. While their fellow countrymen were dodging bullets, Leeds City were handing out bungs to keep their home defence intact. City were disbanded, and from those tainted ashes rose Leeds United, founded in 1919. It was to be nearly 50 years before the club won their first trophy. Don Revie changed the strip to mimic Real Madrid, the new shirts were white, and the era was golden. Brenner and Co. brought home the League and Fairs Cup in the same season. For a time, Leeds were one of the giants of Europe, but it was nearly 2 decades before their next major crown. Under Howard Wilkinson, Leeds won their third First Division title in 1991, a year before the formation of the Premiership. Today, fans must wonder if they'll ever see these scenes again. The 90s saw a revolution in football, with men in pinstripe suits becoming sudden enthusiasts of the sport. Football became awash with money as Sky paid millions for TV rights to drive its new subscription service for armchair fans. Suddenly the beautiful game was sexy, and revenue soared as advertisers jumped on board. Leeds had never been a super rich club, with ownership over the years mostly in the hands of local businessmen. But now the Leeds boardroom saw manoeuvrings reminiscent of Eddie Gray's trickiest footwork. In 1995, 3 directors, Bill Fotherby, Peter Gilman and Leslie Silver, restructured the shareholding, giving them 98% of the club. Small shareholders saw their stock slashed from 18% to an insignificant 2%. A year later, they sold out to a media group called Caspian for £16.5 million. Who also agreed to take on the existing £10 million debts.
But our investors are long-term pension fund and life insurance companies, and they're very keen to ensure that Leeds is very successful on the field, and that should be replicated, hopefully, in terms of its profit in the future.
The new owners immediately floated the club on the stock exchange. For the first time, Leeds United was controlled by a PLC, with the football club reporting to the main parent board. As part of a charm offensive, Caspian changed the name of the holding company to Leeds Sporting PLC. And they made a local fan and businessman, Peter Ridsdale, chairman of the football club.
But clearly our desire, and the fans' desire, is to have a winning football team, and that's what we're here to achieve.
Well, within 18 months of that interview, Peter Ridsdale had risen to chief executive of the parent company. He formed a new management team which included Asda supermarket boss Alan Leighton, later to become deputy chairman of Leeds United plc. Now, financial control is clearly at the heart of the Leeds crisis, and so I'd like to call my first witness, football business expert Dr. Bill Gerrard. Bill Gerrard is Professor of Sport Management and Finance at Leeds University Business School. He's a fan, shareholder and a former advisor to the club on player valuation. Bill, let's cut straight to the chase. Who's responsible for the crisis at Leeds United?
Peter Ridsdale and the other senior executive management of the PLC since July 1999, including the current Professor Mackenzie.
Well, explain to me exactly how bad the situation is as regards the debt.
If it had not been for the Trevor Birch's negotiation skills within the last few days, Leeds United plc would be in administration by now. As it is, we have 6 weeks breathing space to allow Trevor Birch to put together a package of new investors to satisfy the creditors, draw a line on the past mistakes and allow this great club to move forward again.
Well, clearly everybody here today hopes that that succeeds, Bill. But as you point the finger at Peter Ridsdale, what really gives you the right to do that? I mean, why? Surely you as fans were behind what Peter Ridsdale was doing. You were living the dream.
We lived the dream. All fans lived the dream and enjoyed it. But the fans look towards the board of directors in any football club, not only to run it with emotion and with understanding, but also to run it with prudence. No fan asked Peter Ridsdale to put the whole future of Leeds United up at risk in order to have the dream.
It was the bond, wasn't it? The bond, the £60 million bond that has really put Leeds in the situation they're in today. Is that basically what you're saying?
We have to go back to May 2001. We missed out on qualifying for the Champions League again by 1 point. Instead of the sensible course of action, we had a squad that was good enough to compete at the highest level. The sensible course of action was to retrench. But instead, we went out and spent another £19 million on players, Robbie Fowler and Seth Johnson. We put another £10 million onto the wage bill, and then we took out this 25-year bond for £60 million. And instead of spending that on bricks and mortar, on redeveloping Ellen Road or building the new stadium that we voted for, it was used to cover in part £80 million worth of losses that have been racked up in the last 2 years.
Bill, I'm going to present my first exhibit at this point, Sammy the Goldfish. Bill, explain the significance of Sammy there in this saga.
Sammy is part of the culture of extravagance that ran through the whole of Leeds United. It was like that old Evita song, the money kept rolling in and it kept rolling out and it rolled out quicker than it came in. We paid 20 quid a month to have a goldfish in the team colours. We were paying nearly £600,000-700,000 a year on cars. The money just went out, and ultimately it has pushed us to the very brink. We had no proper financial control at Leeds United for the last 12 to 18 months.
Let's now turn to the present chairman, Professor John Mackenzie, who succeeded Peter Ridsdale. Exhibit B is this videotape from the Money programme on BBC television last month. This is the chairman, and he's referring to the sale of Harry Kewell to Liverpool.
It's the best deal that we get in the circumstances, but it's a poor deal and not one which I'm happy about at all.
You gave a mug